Hey crew, it's Pit, and I'm back with the Timeless Tarot for Sunday, August the 10th, 2025. This is a timeless reading, however, and so whenever you find it is exactly when it was meant to find you. We will be pulling 8 cards from the Divine Feminine deck, 8 cards from the Divine Masculine deck, in accordance with the 8 human chakras, to best understand how we can manifest our highest timeline in accordance with Spirit. I've already done a pre-shuffle, but I like to get 2 more just to make sure everything is exactly where it is meant to be. And now we will begin pulling with the base, and in the base we have the 6 of Swords. In the sacral we have the 4 of Swords. In the solar plexus we have the High Priestess. In the heart we have the 6 of Cups. In the throat we have the 5 of Pentacles. In the third eye, we have the Queen of Wands, and in the crown, we have the 7 of Swords in reverse. And rounding out our message from the bottom of the deck in the Divine Feminine, we have the 5 of Wands. Next, we're going to pull 8 cards from the Divine Masculine deck. The Divine Feminine, the cards that are already on the deck, let us know what the current situation is, the current energies. The Divine Masculine deck lets us know what steps, actions that we can take in order to help manifest our highest timeline. And so, let's begin pulling with the crown. And in the crown, we have the Hanged Man. In the third eye, we have the World in reverse. In the throat, we have the 2 of Cups. In the heart, we have the Knight of Swords in reverse. And in the solar plexus, we have the Magician. In the sacral, we have the 6 of Swords in reverse. And in the base, we have the Moon. And rounding out our message from the bottom of the deck and the Divine Masculine, we have the Emperor. All right, let's dive in and see what the cards are telling us today. We begin in the base because that is base existence. Do you have a home? Do you have a job? Do you have food? Do you have money? Do you have provision? This is also the area that governs love and wrath, so you can be giving away a little bit too much affection. You may not be getting the affection you feel like you deserve. Neither one is particularly good in and of itself. Beginning today, in the base existence, what is going on currently in your life is a transition. This is the 6, and 6s are about nurturing energy. It is you have overcome a challenge, but you're not quite ready for the harvest yet. And so this is taking the appropriate steps, going to the place where you need to be. Right? This can indicate a journey. It's not necessarily one, but it can indicate one. You can see that the man is pulling the woman and the child across the waters. That is his family, most likely, but not necessarily. Swords are about thoughts and ideas. It is soul, it is thoughts, it is intellects, and it is communication. So there may be a communication attached to it, but more than likely it's thoughts, base provision, less about communication. This can indicate a new job, right? Well, not really. This is more right before you get to the promotion level, right? You're good at your job. You do it flawlessly. You do it easily, right? You're not in the middle of the challenge. You're not learning new things. You're nurturing the energy right before you get the promotion. And so this can indicate change. It can indicate a travel. Some people look at this as indicating travel will happen, and that is definitely possible. We do have change showing up. And so we're going to look for further clarification as we go along, but your base situation appears to be that there is some sort of a transition, right? It is not necessarily an overbearing transition like we would get with one of the big change cards like the Tower or the Wheel of Fortune, but this is definitely some change, going to a new land, leaving behind the things that no longer serve you. Not quite as much as the 8 of Cups, but clarifying with some actions that can be taken. We have the Moon, and the Moon is one of the cards of change. We have the Sun and the Moon in the sky right here, and it is signified by the rays around it's the Sun. The crescent is the Moon. It's got both the Sun and the Moon. That indicates balance to me. It also has the Towers. The Towers are going to indicate balance as well. One will be Boaz, one will be Yakin, even though they are not marked. And then you have a dog and a wolf, and that indicates the domesticated side of man and the feral side of man. Right? And then there's a path that walks right down the middle, and that is where you are supposed to be, right? Between the two paths, light and dark, domesticated and feral. And then all the way at the bottom, right where my finger is, you can see a little crawfish, and he is coming out of the water, and he is walking up the path. He is coming out of his comfort zone, but he is fully armored, fully prepared to do it, fully prepared to walk into it. This is an 18 card, so that means that it's going to be about an understanding that needs to be reached. That understanding can be about a communication, but it is probably about an idea. It is you coming out of your comfort zone. That is what this card means most of the time. This is some change, but it is change in your comfort levels. It is you coming out of your comfort zone and getting new experiences. That in combination with the travel card means that there may be some measure of travel, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be world traveling. You could be going visit a friend in another state, but there definitely, if so, it is outside of your comfort zone to do so. Next, we're going to go to the sacral. The sacral is the area of physical generation. This is what you're trying to bring into your life. We didn't get a whole lot of clarification about what's currently going on. That's generally good, right? Everything's going great. There's not a whole lot of change needed. The sacral is the area that deals with lust and chastity, so it can be a child that you are physically generating, but it's also the area that deals with business. If you want to create a business, you envision it with your third eye, you invest your energy through your heart out into the divine, but you take positive steps here. And so this does govern lust and chastity, and that's giving away too much of the physical affection or not receiving enough, and neither one is intrinsically good. And you've got a meditative state, and this is a 4. It is another understanding card. This is the 4 of Swords, so it is about a thought, an idea, or a communication. You have another sword right here, so that's going to be a thought, idea, or communication. So this could be dealing with the communication, but it's probably dealing with the thought because it is on the left-hand path, and that is the more active side of things. What we see is he has 3 swords on his wall. That is past battles. He has 1 underneath him, and he is in a meditative state. And this is his ability to fight. These are the battles he has already fought, and he's not feeling bad about these battles. And it comes later on with the 9. Right now, he has just learned how to battle, and now he is understanding the lessons that he has learned from the battles that he has had. So there is an understanding to be had around an idea, and it can be related to conflict. Not necessarily thought. Swords do indicate conflict quite often, but not necessarily here. This is more of an more about you than it is about interpersonal relationships in that way. You don't get a whole lot of conflict here. You'll get more conflict here in the base because it is love and wrath. This is more the sexual energy and the business partnership energy. So there can be an understanding that needs to be happening around an idea, dealing with a partner. Maybe there is a communication that needs to happen, but that is not immediately obvious. We'll see what we get in the throat, but clarifying with some steps that can be taken, we have the 6 of Swords in reverse, and this is a reiteration of the movement that is happening, right? This is the current situation in your life, and what is unfolding is that there needs to be some movement, that there needs to be the coming out of the comfort zone, and this is the same thing, but it is less of the energy. When it is standing tall, that is the energy, right? You are moving to a new land. You are taking with you the lessons that you have learned, but you're not necessarily taking conflict with you. You're going somewheres where there may not be as much conflict. This is less of that energy, right? And again, this can be ideas or communication. It is in the area of sexual generation, so it can have something to do with a partnership. There's 2 swords. Swords are ideas, but they are also communications or conflict. So again, it's not altogether clear what is going on here, right? There seems to be a need for some movement, some let's get out of the comfort zone, a little bit of an understanding that needs to be stricken, but we don't really know around what. Let's see if we can get some further clarification. Next, we're going to move to the area of the solar plexus, and the solar plexus is really what changes your food into fuel. It's tied to your stomach. It deals with temperance and gluttony. So are you over-consuming the things of the mortal coil? Are you under-consuming the things of the mortal coil? Neither one is entirely good in and of itself. Asceticism is highly overrated. And you've got the High Priestess. This is about these 2 cards together, right? You have the High Priestess and the Magician. Now, this is number 1 and number 2 of the major arcana. Number 2 indicates that there is a choice. The way that they came out is, this is probably a choice about stepping into your magicianship. We have seen that in the last couple of days. That is stepping into your power, your ability to manifest, your ability to do things. You do so by becoming balanced, and that's what this card is about. Right? Once you realize that there is a path of the magician, then you have to choose to take the path. Now, you are free to not take the path, but what is being seen here is that maybe that's what's taking you out of the comfort zone. Maybe that's what's going to require a little bit of travel. Maybe that's what's going to require some understanding, is that you need to balance yourself so that you can step into your magicianship. She is seated on the seat of authority. She is between the 2 pillars that we were talking about, right? Boaz and Yakin, light and dark. And you're supposed to be in the middle of those. Now, she has the Torah in her lap. That means that she is making decisions about the law. She is learning about the law. She is going to be the distributor of the law, but she is not quite there yet. There is a lot of learning left to do before she is there. This is about becoming balanced so that you can step into that, making the choices in the right way so that you can do so. And it is clarified by you stepping into your magicianship. This is the 1. This is the beginning of the tarot. It's not quite as much the beginning as the Fool is, but the Fool is the key. He opens all of the doors. This is one of the paths. This is the path of higher understanding, of the learning in the earthly path. This is the clarifier for the Ace of Pentacles. And so this is realizing that there is a higher path. This is beginning to take that path. This is you stepping out into that path. And he has all of the infinite possibilities over his head. He is raising his athame of change in the as above. He is pointed to the as below, and he has everything arrayed on the altar of magic, right? He has his cup, his sword, his wand, and his pentacle. All of the tools, everything that he needs right here. You have that as well, but you do have a choice to make, and that choice is going to require some understanding and some movement in thought. This 6 of Swords can indicate movement in thought, and that's probably what's happening here. You have some understanding that needs to unfold, and it's going to involve some movement in thought. You've got some movement in thought that is occurring, and it's going to involve getting out of your comfort zone. You have a magicianship to step into, and it's going to involve you making a choice. Next, we're going to move to the heart, and the heart is the area of true manifestation. It ties together the as above and the as below. It is associated with greed and charity. Greed's tied to the mortal coil. It is loving things a little bit too much. Charity is tied to the upper coil. It is loving things not quite enough. You are meant to have things, but not all of the things. You are meant to give things away, but not all of the things. What you have is understanding or nurturing. This is a 6 of Cups, and cups are about emotions. They are about feelings, right? It is body, spirit. It is water. It is familial connections, spousal connections, business connections, or friendships, but it is not the people. It is the emotions attached to it. This is the 6 of Cups, which indicates, like our 6 of Swords, right? There is a nurturing that needs to happen. And the nurturing that needs to happen here is a little bit related to the inner child, the child spirit, right? Your feelings from childhood, right? Nurturing the understanding from childhood. These 2 children give people a sense of nostalgia, so this can be a nostalgia card, but it's probably indicating that you have, in your current situation, the need to nurture the childish side of yourself. Now, that is not the petty childish side of yourself. That is the side of yourself that enjoys things, right? Going places and getting outside of your comfort zone, having new experiences, laughing, just joking with your friends. It's relaxing a little bit. It's resting in the provision that is being provided, because this is the last step before the emotional harvest. You have overcome the emotional challenge, and now you're not quite to the emotional harvest, and it's time to properly feed your emotions. And this is probably telling you that in your current situation, you might need to relax a little bit. And that is being clarified by actions that can be taken with the Knight of Swords. And again, we have swords energy, right? There's a lot of swords here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 5 swords, and that's fairly impressive, right? We only got 16 cards. We're looking at about a third of the cards dealing with an idea or a communication. This is probably the same idea, right, that you need to back out of a little bit. What we see when he is standing tall is that he is riding the white horse of victory with his sword of thought and intellect held high, and he is charging headfirst into the past, but he is being fully prepared to rise and meet the challenge. Knights rise to meet the challenge. He is fully armored, he is armed, he is ready to fight. This is a little bit less of that energy. This is you riding out with the idea to conquer the world, going out, doing the thing. This is letting it come to you, using the idea to conquer the world. Still rising to meet the challenge, or else it would not be the challenge card. It would not be a knight. It would be something different, but less of an active role in rising to meet the challenge. Now, that together with this nurturing of the child spirit, the nurturing of the emotions, of the feelings, it's probably an idea that is holding you back, right? We have this understanding that you need around an idea, some movement around an idea, some movement around an idea, embracing some change. This is nurturing your more emotional side by being able to rise to the challenge in a less aggressive manner. And so it really does appear that maybe you do just need to relax a little bit and have some fun. Next up, we're going to move to the throat. The throat is the area of communication, and it deals with pride and humility. So taking too much credit for your work, not taking enough credit for your work, both are going to be here. You are meant to take credit for a job well done, but it does not make you better than anyone. And today you have the 5 of Pentacles, and this is a deprivation card. This indicates challenge in the provisionary path. Swords are like the base. Do you have a home? Do you have a job? Do you have food? Do you have money? And this indicates maybe not. Right now, this is around the area of communication, so maybe it's a communication of deprivation. But it is entirely possible that this is something that you are currently facing in your situation, right? Many people are facing a little bit of deprivation these days. Things have not quite yet turned around the way that they will very soon. And so you may be feeling some deprivation, but this is probably related to a communication. We see they got the 5 Pentacles on the beautiful building that these 2 people are not allowed in. They are out in the cold. One of them is on crutches and the other one is wrapped really, really tightly. This is hard, right? This is a challenge. 5s are challenges. And so this is a challenge like the Knight, but it is less of a rise to meet the challenge and more of the challenge is facing you. You are always required to meet the challenge, but Knights are more active than a 5 is. And so this is probably a communication around the situation, but it does appear that it is a deprived situation, that you are not being abundantly provided for. Now, clarifying that, we have the 2 of Cups, which indicates a communication with a divine partner, right? This is one of the marriage cards of the tarot. It's not in a marriage slot, so it's probably not indicating marriage, but it's in a communication slot, so it can indicate that you need to communicate with your partner, maybe around a situation. If you are not communicating about a bill or something along that nature, that might show up here. But this is divine partnership. You see the man and the woman with the cup, and they are being blessed by the caduceus with the lion's head. This is divine partnership. So it can be sexual. It doesn't have to be. It can be business. Right? Partnerships happen in business. It can be friendships, like the divinely inspired friend that is going to be there for a long time. But this is probably a communication with a friend or a lover about a deprived situation. Maybe they're able to help you and you have to come out of your comfort zone and adjust your thoughts with that idea. Many people are not happy with taking charity from others. Back off of your pride a little bit, huh? Next up, we're going to move to the 3rd eye, and this is where you envision your future. It is your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. It is what you want to create in your life. You envision it here, you invest energy here, and you take steps here. This is the area that deals with sloth and diligence. So are you working towards your goal, or do you just expect it to pop up with no input from you? That absolutely will not happen. There is no manifestation that happens outside of you actually making the manifestation happen. You have the Queen of Wands, which is another nurturing energy, right? This is another 6. It is the higher level 6. So you have 6, 6, 6, 6, right? There's a whole lot of nurturing that needs to take place here. This is nurturing the change of ideas, right? Stepping into being flexible with your thoughts. This is the Queen of Wands. Wands are about change. It is about intuition. It is about spirit, fire, life, light, logos, change, and intuition. And so this can be you having divinely inspired thoughts. This is, after all, your hopes, dreams, and aspirations. This is the divine feminine in her maturity, right? This is not the immature teenage girl. This is the mature woman in her full power. And so this is divine feminine around the change, around the intuition. So it's around the idea. And this is feeding the appropriate energy in the appropriate way. This is not rising to meet the challenge of the night. It's one step past that. It is not finishing the harvest of the king. It is one step before that. This is taking care of your crops before you get to the harvest, putting out fertilizer, watering your garden, weeding your garden, maintaining the energy, right, in the appropriate way. This is exactly that, right? This is maintaining the energy in the appropriate way for the change or the intuitive idea, right? Now, that is definitely the area for that. Now, clarifying that with steps that can be taken, we've got the World, and this is the best card in the deck. This is opposite, right? Opposite in position and in the orientation from the Magician. When this is standing tall, this is the fruition of the entire deck. This is everything coming to the end in the exact way that it was supposed to, and this is a little bit less of that energy. It's not to say that it's not coming to the end, because you did get the World card, but this is more of a let it come to you energy, like we saw with the Knight. This is not go out and claim it. This is let it come to you. But this is about you investing the energy correctly into this intuitive idea. You have an idea that you need some adjustment around, right? You do need some understanding. You do need some movement and thought. But if you have that, that's going to lead to the World. And so you might want to check on that. Next, we're going to go to the Crown. The Crown is the area of divine inspiration, right? It's not the divine message, but it's how you interpret the message from the divine. It deals with hope and despair. So if you are giving away all of your hope, even though everything is going great, you're still choosing depression, this is the area you need to balance. And if everything is going absolutely terrible and yet you are finding the silver lining, you might need a little balance here too. You've got the Seven of Swords, and this is finding a different way around a situation. But you're being told kind of not to, right? This is the culmination. This is the harvest of the idea. It is on the first level, right? Not the reinvestment to the generational level, but the harvest of the first level. Now, what has happened here is this man has snuck back here, and he has taken their ability to defend themselves. They still have two swords. He's taken away the ability to attack. They still have two swords. They can defend themselves, but he has taken 5 of them, so they can't go out and attack anyone. It is finding a different way around a situation. Now, some people look at this as there's going to be someone who is being tricky in your life. I don't necessarily see it that way, especially not in your divine message. Here in the divine message, what you are interpreting and being responsible for is you are to find a different way or to not, right? This is find a different way with the thought or an idea to bring it to the completion. This is a maintain the thought or an idea to bring it to a completion. You have some understanding and movement of thought that needs to occur. This can indicate the same thing, but it would be more indicative of it here. Now, you can turn this card around by taking the steps that are here, and that is having a different perspective. Now, having a different perspective here is going to allow you to bring this to fruition. That doesn't... You have an understanding around some thoughts to have. You have some movement of thoughts. And so this can be seeing it from a different perspective. having the ability to adjust your thoughts and being able to bring it into fruition because you find the different way around whenever you get the different perspective. And then next we're going to go to the divine. This is a direct message to you from the divine. It is not colored by any of the virtues and vices. The divine has the virtues and vices in perfect balance. And you have a little bit of conflict, right? This is mutual combat. This is not necessarily hyper aggressiveness, right? But it is conflict. They are fighting each other. They are all willingly participating in this fight. It is a 5 card, so it is about a challenge, just like we saw with the 5 of Pentacles here and we see with the Knight. This is you are currently being faced with something that is a little bit uncomfortable, right? It is Wands. That is about change. This one's probably not the intuition that we saw over here. This one's probably the change side of things, right? There is change unfolding in your life, and so you are feeling a little conflicted, or you are in the middle of a conflict around some change. And this is fairly straightforward, right? You are one of these very many people that are beating each other with sticks. They're all happy about it. Nobody's upset. Nobody's really hurt. They are mutually having combat for the betterment of themselves. And clarifying that for steps that can be taken is the immature divine masculine. Now, we saw over here that there is a need to back out and reminisce a little bit, have some of your childish impulses come to the forefront, right? You are rising to a challenge by being a little more childish. This is the kind of that same energy, right? This is the 4, right? So it is about an understanding, but you have the 1, the 2, then you have the 3, and then the 4, right? And the 4, the 3 is the Empress, which is stepping into divine feminine power in an immature way. This is stepping into the divine masculine power in an immature way. Now, that's not saying go out and be immature. It is saying that you do not yet have the experience that you will get later that allows you to step into your divine masculine, right? The next card is the divine masculine in its maturity. And so these cards together, right? These 2 cards together, in consideration of everything else that is on the deck, does appear to indicate that there is a challenge in your life, that it may require you being a little bit more fun, right? To relax a little bit, to enjoy some games, right? This combat, this is a game. This is them mutually having fun. They are learning from each other. They are gaining understanding. They are rising to meet the challenge of understanding the combat of the change. And so there is change that you need to embrace by being a little bit combative, stepping into the divine masculine, but not the mature divine masculine. That is not to say just run off and do immature things, but there does appear to be the need for you to have a little bit of a childish energy in this, right? This is a reiteration of that. Now, I know he looks really old, right? But this is the Emperor, and the Emperor can be a little overbearing. He can be a little bit capricious. He can be a little bit stingy, right? He's not quite balanced all of his virtues and vices. He is just now stepping into his divine masculine. He has just decided to become a magician. He's got some understanding that needs to unfold. You have some understanding that needs to unfold around a conflict that is mutually beneficial in your life. Hopefully, I brought a little bit of enlightenment and not too much confusion as we reach the end of the reading. If you like what I'm doing over here, let me know down below. Give me a like, share, follow, throw me a comment if you agree or disagree with anything that was stated. Put it in the box down below, and if it remains respectful, it gets to remain up. If you really like what I'm doing over here, hit me with that super thanks. Consider joining for a membership or picking up a copy of my book where I teach you to do magic responsibly. To the crew, thanks for hanging out. I appreciate every single minute that you are here with me, and I am praying for you every single day. Until next time, I love you. God loves you. You are perfect, whole, and complete, just the way that you are, and this has been Pitt State. Peace.